friends, this is Christopher Davis-Shannon, and today we're going to be walking through the 1934 song written by Felix Bernard and Richard Smith out of Pennsylvania, where I'm from, Wonderland. The song's actually written about a little town in Pennsylvania and just seeing the park covered in snow. And this was an instant classic for Guy Lombardo, recorded at RCA Victor Records right over the river in Camden. So this little tune has just an A and B section to it, but it actually has some funky changes to it. So we're going to look at that and see if we can explain why some of these chord changes happen along with learning it. Let's get started. We're going to be doing this song in the key of B flat because that's where I happen to sing it. It fits well in my vocal range, but I also like to break you all out of the typical trope of playing in C, F, and G all the time. B flat is actually a great key on uke and uses a lot of voicings that you already know. So we're going to be starting out on 8 beats or 8 strums on a B flat 6th chord, open 2, 1, 1. We could just play a regular B flat chord here as well, but I like the tonality of this 6th. It's a little bit more ambiguous to start the tune, and it really is indicative of the sound of the time period this was written in. Typically 6th chords would be subbed in for these basic triads quite frequently. So we start out here, and our melody note that we'll be singing, the sleigh bells ring, is on the 1st fret of our E string, our F. So we can give ourselves that note. Sleigh bells ring, are you listening in the lane? So after those 8 strums, we're now going to an F 7th chord, 2, 3, 1, 3. We're going to strum that for 8 beats as well. In the lane, snow is glistening. Just sit right on that. And now, our ear tells us we want to go somewhere from here, but the composers just messed with us a little bit. We're actually going to stay here and on this F 7th chord for 2 more beats. So we go F 7th, now to C minor 7th. I bar this with my ring finger. You can use your 1st finger, that's just fine. I use my ring finger straight across the 3rd fret just because it's already there, and we're going to be going right back to a similar position, but it's up to you what finger you use for the bar. So we're going to go F 7th for 2 beats, and we're going to go to a D minor 7th, to an E flat 6th, which we'll see is, well, the same as a C minor 7th by a different name. Remember that we always want to think about the bass movement or what the rest of the band would be doing if we had another band when we're naming these chords. So sometimes we'll see chords crop up in a song that look the same, sound the same, but function differently. We want to address them properly and name them properly so that if we're ever playing with other musicians that we're all on the same page about what notes we should be playing. So we have 2 beats of F 7th to C minor 7th, to D minor 7th, to E flat 6th. Let's listen to that line. Now for this next chord, we're going to take this E flat 6th chord, and we're going to make it into a C 7th chord. Although we could jump down here, we want to keep all these common tones that we have, and really there's only one note difference, and that's an E flat being moved up to an E. We're just going to keep this bar down, put our middle finger on the 4th fret of our C string. That's going to give us a C 7th chord. You'll note this is really the same as your A 7th chord, just moved on up. So we go C 7th, walking in the winter, down to F 7th, 2 beats on each, Wonderland, and down to a B flat. So here's what the entire A section of the tune sounds like. Sleigh bells ring, are you listening in the lane? Snow is glistening, a beautiful sight. We're happy tonight, walking in a winter wonderland. So if you want at the end, you can either just throw an F 7th on the end, or you can do a full turnaround here just to give us a little bit of movement to get right back to repeating the A section. You go B flat 6th for 1 beat, B diminished 7th, C minor 7th, F 7th. And then after this, we're just going to repeat another A section, and then finally we'll be getting into the B section of the tune. The bridge of this song kind of throws us a curveball right off the bat. We're starting out on a D major chord, which if we think about it is really quite an odd change to have in the key of B flat. This D major has an F sharp in it, which we just simply don't have in the key. So what's happening here? Well, we're really temporarily modulating to the key of D for a moment here. But if we think about it in the long run in relation to other songs, this isn't really that odd of a change to go to a 3-chord, a major 3-chord for a bridge. If we think about George Gershwin's I've Got Rhythm, that's exactly what this does. It's just cycle that 3-chord in a 6-2-5-1. We're going to address it a little bit differently here, going through a series of temporary modulations in the bridge. So don't let it throw you off that we're kind of changing keys here. So we're going to be starting out on a D major chord. While you could play D and then G and then back to D, try these voicings for me. We're going to bar across the 2nd fret, put our pinky on the 5th fret of the A string. That's going to be our D major chord. You know, this is just our C major shape. Moved on up. And then what we're going to do for the G, instead of jetting back down here to play a G major chord, we can make it right where we are, right here. All we have to do is take our ring finger, put it on the 4th fret of our G string, that's a B, and our middle finger is going to go on the 3rd fret of our E string, giving us a G. The pinky and the bar remain. And we repeat that. So this is really the 1 and 4 chord in the key of D major for a moment. It's establishing the new key. And then the second half of the bridge just goes and throws another curveball at us. We're going to an F major chord. I want to be clear, this is an F major, not an F7th in this instance. So what we're doing for a moment here is we're establishing that we are in the key of F now, before we finally bring it back home to B flat to get us to our last A section. So rhythmically, we're going to do the same thing. It'll be 2 beats on F, then B flat 6th. It's our 4 chord now to F. Then this last line is what's going to finally bring us back to the key of B flat. We're going to use our dominant chord, so we'll throw in an F7th now. So we're on our F. We just have to put the ring finger down the 3rd fret on the E flat. But you can do the job. Down to this C7th. And let's use the same voicing that we used in the A section of the tune, just to keep it consistent and challenge ourselves a little bit. But you can do the job when you're in town. Right back to an F7th chord. So let's look at how this entire B section stitches together and see if we can hear how the melody really does lead us to these chord changes, although that it seems a little odd on paper. 1, 2, 3, 4. In the meadow we can build a snowman, then pretend that he's Parson Brown. He'll ask us, are you married? We'll say no, man, but you can do the job when you're in town later on. And then we're right on back to just that good old A section that we already played in the key of B flat. This is a fun device that composers and arrangers use quite a bit, is to take an opportunity in the B section to just throw us off the scent of what our home base, our key is, for just a little bit. And this can be a fun compositional tool that you can try yourself. So let's try stitching this whole tune together and playing it along. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sleigh bells ring, are you listening? In the lane, snow is glistening. A beautiful sight, we're happy tonight, walking in a winter wonderland. Gone away is the bluebird, in his place is the new bird. We're singing our song as we go along, walking in a winter wonderland. In the meadow we can build a snowman, then pretend that he is Parson Brown. He'll say, are you married? We'll say no, man, but you can do the job when you're in town. Later on we'll conspire as we dream by the fire, face unafraid the plans that we've made, walking in a winter wonderland. Now you might be wondering why I didn't show you the little chord melody parts to that, and that's because next week we're going to be working through an entire chord melody arrangement of this song, and not just taking an opportunity to play the chord melody, but really talk about kind of how we construct that chord melody as well, and how we get to a finished product. I'll see y'all next week.